Let's give them a warm welcome. First off, on the blue side, they dominated their opponents yesterday. Give it up for the Copenhagen Wolves. And on the red side, with two Spaniards in their lineup, put your heads together for TCM Gaming. The teams are in place. Let's head over to our casters, Joe and Jason for the English stream and Quentin y Gilligan for the Spanish.
Thanks a lot, Shocks. We're about to get underway with the grand final of the Tenerife Challenger tournament between TCM and the Copenhagen Wolves. So, let's have a look straight down the two teams, starting on the blue side with the Copenhagen Wolves, of course, the biggest favourite coming into this tournament without a doubt. They are, of course, Youngbuck in the top lane, Shook in the jungle, Cowtard in the middle lane, Reckless the AD carry, and Unlimited the support.
Of course, over for TCM, who will be on the red side. Actually, as you heard Youngbuck in that little interview, he said they were ahead of them for majority of the game, so it's going to see happen this time. But JWoww in that top lane, Naruto Adore in the jungle, Belgian Beast in the middle lane, and Matroco as AD carry with Barney D as support.
So let's have a look how these two teams compare up against each other. Yesterday, the Copenhagen Wolves recorded an incredibly strong 2-0 victory against ESC Icybox to get them into this grand final. Reckless, of course, managed 14 kills with his Tristana, including a double kill for First Blood. And then Shook's Evelyn in game number 2 was their real rock.
Yeah, just like you said, the Wolves are the heavy favorites, but the only real surprise we saw out of them yesterday was that Icybox gave them as much trouble as they really did. But one thing that I really loved about the Wolves that we saw was their ability to adapt their strategy mid-game. In game number two, they actually had Reckless getting camped quite a bit, which they kind of expect, but the thing is they changed up their strategy. They had Shook come around with a lot of ganks towards that middle lane and really kind of snowball it from there, and they didn't really need Reckless to finish that game off because they had that strong middle laner, they had the strong jungler.
Well, their opponents here, of course, TCM won on day one with a 2-0 win over Plain Ducks. Copenhagen Wolves will be their toughest opponents of the entire tournament, though, and you have to wonder if TCM's good form here in Tenerife is going to be enough to take out the hottest challenger circuit team right now, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, but we have to keep in mind, these two teams did play last week at Jaffinity in London, and the Wolves ended up taking that one, but the thing is, TCM, with that time, they get to just sit there, figure out what they did wrong, come up with a new plan. But in day number 1 here in Tenerife, we did see Belgian Beast, though, come out swinging in game number 1 against the Plain Ducks. His Karthus was ridiculous with a score of 6-1 and 6, and then we saw JWoww playing Elise in game number 2 going 8-0 and 10. And if they can maybe secure these champions, they might get that revenge they're looking for.
Well, we heard there that Elise, obviously, with JWoww, we heard Copenhagen Wolves saying that, or Reckless in particular, saying that JWoww is a player that can carry TCM to victory. So we'll see if he gets that Elise like he did yesterday. And I can tell you now, as a sneak peek, he's not going to get it because we are going into the bans and the picks. Elise and Lissandra banned out for Copenhagen Wolves. Lee Sin, Twisted Fate for TCM.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams have quite a bit of history together, so they know exactly what to ban out. Not to mention, seeing what they played yesterday gives them that advantage to look at what they wanted to pick, what they were comfortable with, and kind of take that away. And the Elise, it might put JWoww a little bit behind since he played those in both games, so we're going to see maybe a new champion on him here, but the rest of the bans do come in.
Yeah, Draven banned out there against Matroco. We actually saw a sign there in the audience that said, "Welcome to the League of Matroco." Not going to get the Draven today, though. Nunu going to be banned out here as well by TCM. And first pick was very quick there, actually, coming out as Zyra. Now, this is Copenhagen Wolves. This is Cowtard, who has played Zyra in that middle lane. He played it when Copenhagen Wolves, who are now NIP, in the spring split when, you know, it's a bit of a confusing one, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about here. Cowtard, of course, played for the Copenhagen Wolves, now NIP, when Bjergsen wasn't old enough. He played Zyra in the mid back then. We've seen him play it already here. TCM going to go in for a Twitch Thresh bottom lane instantly, though. Okay,
so let's touch on the Zyra real quick before we get right into that Twitch Thresh, because we actually did see that yesterday, is that the Zyra pick, it can go on Cowtard, definitely. We know him for playing that champion, but also you can use it as a mind game. Maybe your support will play it. Maybe Unlimited will take that one. So, I mean, TCM, not really 100% sure where that will go necessarily, but the Twitch and the Thresh we did see yesterday with Evil Geniuses, it's a pretty strong combo, and I'm really curious to see how well they make that work. Barney D with the Thresh hooks, it doesn't matter how many you throw, as long as you hit that crucial one to really lock down a kill and really create an opportunity for your team. And didn't play it, actually no, he did not play it in their game. He played Janna and Zyra here, so it's going to be a new one for him.
So Evelyn's going to come out now. Shook yesterday. Is Evelyn in game 2 in particular was frightening, actually. And we are going to see Nami locked in there, which tells us that Zyra is going to be in the mid lane. Kind of surprised me that Copenhagen Wolves did that there, that they put Nami in as the 3rd pick when TCM haven't picked a mid laner.
Yeah, I mean, we did see Barney use Zyra as support in day number 1, but it's not necessarily something you want to pick in right away unless you do want to take it away from the Wolves. But the Nami, we've seen Unlimited play it now, the 3rd game in the row here, and we have seen Shook. He went 6-1-8 on that Evelyn yesterday in game number 2, so he's really strong to do it. It's really hard. The thing is, he's more of that mid-game kind of carry, mid-game kind of jungler, so it's going to see how that's actually going to work out here. But we do see that Copenhagen Wolves going to have the next 2 picks here, but I'm going to touch on the Karthus and Kha'Zix real quick. So the Karthus, you saw Belgian Beast play it, like we said before, 6-1-6 in that game number 1, was phenomenal with it, and he's playing a comfort champion, which really makes things easier when you're playing on a stage like this, when you don't have a lot of experience. And then the Kha'Zix, it's a very heavy assassin, so JY is going to be busting that one instead of Elise, which Elise is kind of the same role, maybe a little bit of assassin heavy, and I want to see how well he's going to interact with that at the top lane. However, that always could be in the jungle. It really could. It's been kind of played with and toyed around with in 3.8.
So it looks like Copenhagen Wolves could be finishing off with a Tristana, who is Reckles' go-to AD carry right now. We saw him play Ezreal in game number 2 yesterday, which honestly wasn't as impressive as his Tristana, which kind of surprised me that they went that way. He wasn't banned out. And Youngbok going to be having Malphite. That is, again, another comfort pick for Youngbok.
Yeah, that's the 3rd time he's going to be playing it every game so far. I mean, if it's not Malphite, it'd probably be Renekton, because that's what he's really well known for. So it's kind of hard to ban him out, but the thing is, do you want to ban out Youngbok? And the answer is really no, because you have a lot more threats to really worry about. So Repus, maybe he'll go for an early double kill like he did in game number 1 yesterday against ESC Icy Box with that Tristana, but a very strong lane, and we have to give credit to Unlimited in that whole bottom lane combo. His Aqua Prisons were phenomenal. Like, every time would land them perfectly, even on an Ezreal, which is like the hardest thing to do since he can arcane shift away, obviously. So we're gonna see how well it's gonna work out in that bottom lane.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be Teemo, as much as we'd like to see that. Jarvan, on the other hand, is definitely a more reasonable champion coming into this one. Obviously, they have that bottom lane in there. They've got the top lane Kha'Zix. They've got Karthus for that mid lane. Obviously, they could end up switching around depending on what's going on. But it looks like we will be having that Jarvan here for the jungle for TCM.
And I kind of like that whole lineup they have. So they have like a triple threat with Twitch, with Karthus, with Kha'Zix. So it's pretty much...
Or Nocturne.
It still works out, because obviously the ultimate from him, you can use it to take away vision, but the whole, you have 3 high priority targets you need to kill. And the burst that Copenhagen Wolves has right now isn't that high, so they're not going to be able to burst one target down right away, but there's so much damage coming out of the lineup at TCM, so Narutador is going to have to pretty much go straight tank just to kind of sustain and really soak up that damage he needs to.
See, one thing for me that is somewhat worrying from my point of view is that TCM have got the likes of Kha'Zix, Karthus, Nocturne. They're all going to dive straight in there with that one. But on the other side, you've got Unstoppable Force, you've got Stranglethorns, you've got the Nami Wave, you've got the Bubble. That's a lot of CC to stop them really doing anything once they go in there.
Right. Yeah, so Copenhagen Wolves, they want more of like a late game composition with the Malphite, with the Tristana, and the Evelyn, who obviously is strong from mid to late game, but then TCM, they want to get kills right away. I mean, with that Nocturne, they don't want to let Copenhagen Wolves get strong somewhat, just kind of really snowball that Kha'Zix, really snowball the Karthus and even Twitch here. So you're going to see if they can be able to do that, but I'm pretty sure Copenhagen Wolves are prepared for that and might try to prevent that from happening.
Well, we can see there on your screen the crowd here in Tenerife, final day, and they want to see all the action from this one. And TCM, you know, a couple of Spaniards in the lineup, which unsurprisingly the Spanish crowd like. We saw a lot of fans there for Matroco, who he kind of lost his support player with from the Wizards. Of course, they didn't quite get through the promotion. They lost to Alternate in the end, but they were together. Mithy now, though, in the LCS, got himself that spot on the Lemon Dogs. And who knows, Matroco, you know, if TCM win this one, they're going to be within arm's reach almost of the next season.
Yeah, I mean, that promo series that these teams are really looking for, they want to have that chance to be an LCS, to be on the main stage for everyone to watch here. And I mean, Matroco, I gotta feel bad for him, or you know, even good, because obviously, like you said, his support Mithy did get in, and now it's the pressure's on him. Can he qualify again and get into there and join him yet again, and then of course battle it out maybe if Lemon Dogs do requalify?
So we're going to be getting into game here in just a second. As you said, Copenhagen Wolves, the probably overwhelming favourite from this one. The form that they've been in recently, winning the tournaments that they have, the fact that they beat TCM at Gfinity, although a slightly different TCM, of course, last week at Gfinity. That was before the whole incident with Phylox, who obviously then they were withdrawn from the tournament. But we are going to get into game then. It's game number 1 of our grand final of the Challenger tournament here in Tenerife. Copenhagen Wolves versus TCM. Jason, take us through level level 1 because the likes of Zyra, Nami in there, on the other side, the hook from Thresh, this could be explosive at level 1.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, there's not a lot of CC out of the wolves, but there's enough CC to lock down the enemy team at TCM, but I think TCM just has too much upfront damage. If you do land that hook onto someone, that target will most likely die, or at least will have to blow that flash to get away. And just taking a look at Runes and Masters real quick, Barney's actually running 1% crit on that Thresh, so it's really interesting to see if he can maybe get that crit just to give him a little bit of an early advantage. It's a little bit of a RNG factor, but it could work out in their favor.
Well, we see the pink ward put down there by Unlimited, just wanting to get away that vision that TCM had placed in there early. Actually, TCM starting here with 2 pink wards as well, so they may well have the opportunity to have a go at something. And I say 2 pink wards, there's actually 3 because there's one already down there from them on that bottom side of the river. So it's a lot of pink wards early on. You can kind of expect that when you've got an Evelynn on the opposite team, though. And we were watching a little bit of OGN earlier. Yeah. We saw about 3,000 pink wards in the top side to counter the Evelynn from that one. So a similar kind of thing to expect here. As Copenhagen Wolves come in from the side, Belgian Beast actually off to the side of this one. He's backed away just in time, but Copenhagen Wolves got good vision down on this top side now by the red.
Yeah, it's really hard to ward out an Evelynn here. So TCM, I mean, there's no point investing heavily into green wards unless you just want to ward up the jungle, see where Evelynn currently is at. And with all those pinks going down, it looks like Shook will be starting his own side of the jungle here. So just kind of wants that safe little start. And in the meantime, Luchador going to be starting as blue. So we might see that patented level 3 gank at that top lane.
Shook going to go pretty low from this one, though, that's for sure. And have to be burning through those pots. And see, using his smite early on to make sure that he can get that red buff away. Head up then onto the blue side. Barney already using a pink ward here in the tri-bush. Clears out the vision, but leaving that there to make sure that Evelynn can't come down through that bottom tri-bush.
Okay, so looking at these lane stops we have coming on, as we do see Nurtzorch actually going for an invade here, but the red isn't going to be there unfortunately for him. So that's going to be a little bit of wasted time, and we did have Copenhagen Wolves spotting that, so they might be able to counter it and take away the red buff. However, as we see, Shook doesn't have that smite available to really take it. So
yeah,
with the lane swaps though that are coming in, I would have to say Copenhagen Wolves really benefit from this quite well. So you keep JWoww, you keep that presence of his assassination really down low, so he won't be able to get fed, won't be able to get a lot of farm. And then on the flip side, that young buck, if he does get hit by Matraco, that means Matraco can't harass him on a turret again, because that means he's going to be taking turret aggro with that poison. So Wolves, I think they're going to benefit quite heavily from this. And now Copenhagen Wolves are going for invade here onto Naruto. Shook doesn't have his smite up just yet, but Naruto does.
Not just yet, as we are going to see him go in there. Shook going to get him for that one. Naruto picks that one up, but can he get away from this? He's going to put the fear down, but is it going to be enough? One more hit needed there. One more auto attack would have taken Naruto down for first blood, but he flashes last second away from it. He saw Belgian Beast actually go up to that red with Naruto there just to make sure that Evelynn wasn't there. In the end, it still backfired for them.
Yeah, and luckily though for Naruto, he did get that red, so he was able to get it, able to get away, and he still blew the flash out of Shook. So in the end, pretty even trade, but obviously having Naruto having to back away this early on doesn't help him too easily or too well. He won't be able to gank as early on as he expected to, but JWoww is already having a tough time here in this top lane, as Copenhagen Wolves are actually going for a 3-man dive here.
Yeah, JWoww in all kinds of trouble, actually going to dive on towards Shook here. The damage is coming in high. Heal comes down, Bubble will actually land. Reckless is going to go underneath the turret. He needs to swap out the aggro here, and here comes Nocturne around the corner. This could be really bad for the Copenhagen Wolves. Reckless has already used his jump. There's Kautar grasping roots. Gonna be not landing just about there. The spell shield was up anyway, so he would have got away from that one. And now they go back in. The question is, will they risk diving here, knowing that Naruto is there?
Well, they know he doesn't have his barrier up this time, and if he had that ignite, he might have been able to pick up that kill on the Shook and the double buffs, but they're just gonna kind of sit here and farm. Naruto just gonna protect JWoww, and that's a great reaction out of Wolves, actually by both teams, to really get up towards that top lane right away to prevent any first blood from going down.
Crazy start to this one. And now we finally see Kautar head back down in towards that middle lane. See, he's falling behind now on the CS to Belgian Beast. But we saw him yesterday, in their second game when he played the Zyra against Twisted Fate. And that Zyra puts out a lot of damage. I think we sometimes overlook it because we don't see that AP Zyra all that much, certainly compared to the amount we see her in the support role.
Yeah, he was very, very bursty, and it actually caught them off guard. Icebox a little bit, as you could tell. And Twisted Fate was forced to build a little bit defensive, just with like a twin shadows here. And now Shook, he's just sitting here just trying to protect this bottom lane. And looking at the laners in terms of how CS has been going so far, it's pretty dead even across the board. And this shows how good both teams are and how equal these teams are.
We'll see if they can push on for an early turret. Obviously that 3-man gank attempt in the top lane to get first blood. Didn't quite work out for the Copenhagen Wolves, and Evelyn actually sitting down in this bottom lane for quite a while right now, wanting to make sure that one stays safe. And a bit of experience with it as well. Copenhagen Wolves doing well now on that top side, as Youngbuck in the bottom did go low, but we can see that Nocturne is coming to this top side as we are going to go on towards Unlimited. Question is, can they finish him off? As Reckless is going to jump away, and look at the bubble coming in on towards JWoww. He's now going to be forced to back off from this one, and they can chase down somewhat here.
Yeah, they're going to get a little bit of damage onto Nerthador, it looks like, and still a great job by Copenhagen Wolves to get away, and also a great Aqua Prison out of Unlimited. We talked about it a little bit early on as Youngbuck getting very low, being forced to flash, but he should be able to escape here, and that's with the 2v2 lane he was getting harassed that much.
Yeah, you saw him early on, he was flashing that entire time, his portrait, and needs to be really, really careful. It's going to mean that Shook sticks around in this bottom lane even longer now for the start of this. As I say that, of course, we do have the teleport on Youngbuck, so he can get himself back in there. Both turrets here in these 2v1 lanes, or 2v2 lanes, funnily enough, as they both seem to have turned out with the jungler on both sides, is going to go down first here on the top side. That was a good shield from Naruto, though, to stop him getting bubbled up as well.
It's a good job by Wolves just to take that first turret, get a little bit of an early gold advantage, and now maybe we're going to see those lane swaps happen, so Youngbuck might just stay going head-to-head against JWoww. We might see Unlimited and Reckless go head-to-head, but we do see some damage going down middle here. Coutard very low.
Oh,
Belgian's level 6.
He's level 6. He's actually getting behind his turret now so that he can go for the Requiem, and Coutard not going to be able to escape this one. Belgian Beast picks up first blood for TCM.
I like how Coutard just stood there like, all right, I know I'm dead.
Two.
Oh, he got 2. What?
I somehow missed that one completely. I didn't even see that Evelyn was actually low. She was
attacking double
in the jungle doing the golems here, and the Requiem comes down and gets the double kill there for Belgian Beast.
Wow. He could not be happier with that.
Well, he had no idea that that was going to happen for him.
That's hilarious about it.
That is one of the most happy feelings in the world, where you think, okay, I've definitely got first blood, I'm really happy right now, and then the second one pops up, and you even wonder yourself, well, bit of luck involved with that one, but he'll take that one any day in a grand final.
He might be sitting there saying to his team, that was calculated, guys.
Yeah,
I knew that was going to happen, but I mean, you saw Coutard, he realized he was dead. He actually tried to get a little bit more farm before he went away, but now, Belgian Beast, we saw him in game number 1 against Playing Ducks, with that Karthus going 6-1 and 6. The thing is, if a Karthus gets snowball and gets rolling, as we saw yesterday with SK versus Gambit, it could be so deadly as the game goes on.
So, first dragon of the game coming out here for the Copenhagen Wolves. All 5 men in there, plural version. And that's not going to be challenged whatsoever by TCM. So, now, despite losing first blood, despite it being a double kill as well, that's certainly a bonus coming out there for the Wolves. Obviously, you have the turret lead as well. Looks like TCM want to try and get in there and steal this blue buff away, though.
Yeah, they might be able to lock this one down. If they do, that'd be so great for Belgian Beast. You look over right now on the Coutard, he doesn't have really any mana regen items besides that door, or the Doran's rings. But now, with the tier, with the cows on a Belgian Beast, Naruto has blue buff as well. Actually, that was his own blue buff, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to be so much stronger in lane, and now you're going to see Shook. Like, if anything, he has to camp that middle lane. They need to shut Belgian Beast down. They need to make it so Coutard can kind of catch up here and maybe take away that blue off of him.
Yeah, a little bit behind. The funny thing is the AD carries there, despite the fact that they were both in that 2v1 lane, obviously, so they kind of have that free farm going on. They're bang on even right now in the farm. We are going to see them coming head-to-head in this bottom lane, and that's where we're really going to see how Reckless and Unlimited go about this, because in the 2v2 that they had when they played that Tristana in game number 1, yes, against TSC, they did very, very well. Shook is coming in from the side. We see Naruto coming around the side, but Coutard will get the kill. Coutard then feared back off towards the enemy turret as Naruto has to flash. Shook going underneath the turret. It's going to be a double kill for Naruto. How did he even survive that one in the first place? He got hit by the Zyra passive. He managed to lure Shook in there underneath the turret. Not for the first time this game, I have to say, that Shook fell into that kind of trap. And that will be another double kill coming down, this time for the jungler.
Great awareness out of him as well, just to realize that Shook, he's going to be ganking middle. He actually sat in that Wraith camp for quite a while, expecting it to come down just so he could ulti into the backside. Ended up working out well for them. Belgian Beast picked up 2 assists off on top of it. I mean, you still pulling a Reckless, but he's a Tristana. He can jump away.
Yeah, I think he was in turret range there as well, so didn't want to follow in with that one, end up underneath the turret getting bobbled. That's a similar trap to what we've just described earlier in that little engagement in the mid lane. Let's have a look at the top, because JWoww had a little bit of time whilst Youngbuck was away here to gain himself a 10 CS lead. Youngbuck, though, starting out with that Doran shield, got the rejuve bead in there, plus that chain vest as well. there's not really that much that JWoww is going to be able to do to kill him.
And if you notice, JWoww hasn't gone tier yet. So on Kha'Zix, I mean, you can typically still go him, even though you level up, or you kind of evolve that Q a little bit earlier right now, or actually you do evolve it, first of all. The thing is, if he does end up going for a tier, he's going to be so slow at stacking it up, so the power that he might have is just going to be diminished until a lot later in the game, and that's a great job by Copenhagen Wolves to kind of keep that away from him. You know, keep him away from that item, so now he won't be able to harass that will, won't be able to just dive in and do a lot of damage.
So despite that 4-1 kill lead, it's bang even on gold here. TCM, Copenhagen Wolves got a slight advantage there, ticking over just that little bit faster. And that's the control that they've had, you know, taking that dragon, taking down that first turret from this one. And we see it often, you know. Think back to a prime example in the last weeks is the Gambit versus Lemondogs game, where Lemondogs took turrets very, very early on, but you know, Gambit, they just stuck to that plan, and it didn't really make that much of a difference in the fact that they fell behind at that stage. So it's still a very, very even game here. 4-1 in kills. That can change in the drop of a hat. Yeah, it really could, especially with the whole Malphite, Evelynn, Zyra ult combo, even mixing with Nami right there. You're going to keep the entire team there for quite a while. It's just about how farmed up your APs are to really kind of lock them down and just kind of blow them up overall. So Belgian Beast, like, he has to build that Rod of Ages, which he's going for, because he's going to be focused on quite quickly. And Copenhagen Wolves, as we saw yesterday, they have some pretty good teamfight mechanics and synergy. They might be able to pull it off yet again. So Hex Drinker now done here for JWoww. He's going to be clearing out plenty on that top lane as Youngbuck starts to wander down to bottom. He's level 8 now, has got Unstoppable Force and Teleport and Flash available here. And he isn't going to be spotted. There's the Unstoppable Force. Belgian Beast flashes away from it. And Youngbuck probably just shakes his head and wonders, how does that happen to him twice in 2 days? Yeah, the reaction time count at Belgian was pretty crazy because he didn't know Malphite was there. He didn't know Youngbuck was coming in from the side. He might have had a little bit of an inkling, but not that guarantee of knowing where he is with that ward. And great escape by him, and still gonna be able to, actually he does go back instead, so he is gonna work towards that Rod of Ages, almost pick it up, and he does have a pink ward because he realizes he's still a threat and Shook might be coming around, who Shook's been quite quiet lately. Yeah, I mean, he's died twice from this one, and he'll probably feel that he shouldn't have died both times, I guess. Obviously, there was the Karthus ultimate, which just came up, and he's like, well, great. That's just great timing. But also, you know, the second one, he got baited almost into that flash by Naruto to go underneath the turret and end up dying for a double kill on that front as well. So he's probably a little bit unhappy with how this game is going for him at this stage, but we've seen how good Shook is, and there's certainly time for him to change it around. Yeah, definitely, and he's also sitting there at level 8, so he's been working towards that level 2 ultimate. Right now we have Naruto, he's sticking towards the top side. They want to go in for a kill on the Youngbuck, but like you were saying before, he has his flash available still. There's a huge minion wave, and I don't really think they can kill him under tower because they don't have an ignite. No, that's the problem there, I think. Really struggle to actually be locking him down. Good damage coming out there from Youngbuck though. They're baiting Shook in because JWoww's so pushed up so far now. They want to bait him in, then Naruto just to completely turn that around, but Shook's nowhere in the vicinity to really make that happen, so they're just kind of wasting their time up there. Yeah, not going to work out. You see Youngbuck there just going to recall right underneath the tower as Kautard takes that blue buff. He's actually going to have to go up to this top lane just to stop that one being pushed with both Naruto and JWoww in there as well. There go the Grasping Roots on towards JWoww. Actually going to go with the Strangled Thorns, which, well, Kha'Zix just jumped straight away from. Luckily, he did have that blue buff though, so the cooldown not going to be as long as usual. But remember, every time Kautar leaves that middle lane, Belgian Beast should be getting a big CS advantage over him by constantly farming, taking race over and over. And actually, right now, he's pushing that turret up a little bit more. And look at the amount of pink wards that TCM's invested into this game so far. You see one towards the top, one covering, or actually two covering middle, technically. And right now, Shook, he will be spotted here, trying to come into middle, maybe even trying to go for a blue steal. Well, they're going to go for Dragon. That just spawning in from this one. See the timing there for Copenhagen Wolves down to the second. And, well, this Dragon is going to once again probably be spotted by the Lantern of Barney D, who then has to back away somewhat. Dragon going very low here. Shook going to finish that one off as they manage to catch Switch inside of the bubble, but they decide not to follow on with that one. Kautard does have Flash here and is going to be forced to use it to get out of the Dragon pit, but crucially, they've taken that Dragon and got out without losing lives. And that's what's keeping them ahead in gold currently, is just the fact that they've been controlling their objectives really well, even though they did have their own blue buff stolen away once. I think Kautard was able to take it this time, and right now, you see Youngbuck, he's still on the top side, he's still pushing that wave up, and with how strong he is right now, with how weak JWoww is right now, there's really no chance that he can kill him, so he can just sit there and keep pushing that lane over and over, and when that Sunfire Cape's done, then that he's going to become a real threat. That blood, not blood, there's a brutalizer up till now, added in on top of the Hex string for JWoww. This bottom lane, look at the CS there, just a 2 difference between the 2 AD carries, and there's not been all that much action going on that side either. It's been a big farm game for both of them.
Yeah, we have to keep in mind what the stakes are for this best of 3 is the fact that it's $30,000 and a place in the promotion tournament for Season 4. So there's a lot at stake, and these teams are being very hesitant, not playing as carelessly as they would in a normal game. And right now, JWoww trying to surprise Youngbuck, but still doesn't really have that damage. Right now, Shook's heading towards the top side here. He's going to cross over a pink ward, and JWoww is probably just going to run away after this.
Catching by surprise, but the surprise being that I don't actually really do anything to him whatsoever with that Giant's Belt now in there for Youngbuck. The pink ward actually just timed out here on the top lane, so probably going to see JWoww being a little bit more defensive and more cautious about things. Obviously, does have his flash and can jump away from that one as well if needed. Naruto is also headed towards his top lane, so they're expecting that Evelyn is still there.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Naruto, it's really hard to kind of counter gank an Evelyn. I mean, he did it very well earlier on as he got that double kill, but it's really hard to do that unless you don't have vision somewhat. And he's been wasting a lot of time trying to do that, but luckily for him, he's keeping up in CS, he's keeping up in levels, so really, he's not falling that far behind.
We can see that JWoww is 30 CS ahead right now. We've got a Sunfire cape in for Youngbuck, which is going to make him, again, at this stage, I think impossible for JWoww to kill without the help of someone else. But he's going to be able to push those lanes out a lot faster, and he's already got it multiple times onto that inner turret itself, those waves, so they need to make sure that they're defending that one. You can see that so Copenhagen Wolves here just waiting out in that bottom rush, but a very pensive game as we are going to see them diving on towards Kauton. He puts the Stranglethorns down, but Belgian Beast gets the kill. TCM losing hardly any health from that one whatsoever. Solid kill again.
That was just general game awareness. They knew Kautar flashed out of that Dragon Pit at the Dragon a little bit earlier on, so like, all right, we can just flash on top of him, exhaust him, and just gank him easily. So they pick up another kill over to Belgian Beast, who's now 3-1 and 2, and they should be able to apply some pressure on this middle turret here.
And living up to his name here. He's playing Beastly, and he's from Belgium. So filling both criteria of this one. So Shug having to cover up this middle lane once again, to make sure that they don't lose too much health on that one. But, you know, no turrets down for TCM, just a single one for Copenhagen Wolves. We're 17 minutes into this, and you know, it's quite a low-scoring game, and I think quite indicative that this is the first game of a best-of-3 of a grand final.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mind games that comes into best-of-3s, where in the first game, you don't need to do anything really special. You don't really need to kind of surprise them. Or on the other side of that, you expect, or teams might expect you to not do anything special, and you can catch them off guard, but we didn't see any crazy level 1 invades like we saw yesterday with Meteor Makers versus Fnatic. And both teams, I mean, just trying to play their own game here, and right now, I think Copenhagen Wolves are really the ones doing it because they've limited TCM to, I mean, yeah, it's 5 kills, but they've kept JWoww kind of behind. He hasn't been involved in anything just yet, so all they really need to worry about is Belgian Beast and Matraka, who's been farming up quite well.
Well, speaking of Matraka, got that Blade of the Ruin King now added in with a Berserker Greaves and a pickaxe we just picked up. On the other side, again, Reckless did this actually in their first game yesterday, where he got ahead really early on. He picked up an early BF sword, then he went towards the Cutlass, then the pickaxe, and kind of built both a Blade of the Ruin King up towards that Trinity Force, not Trinity Force, the Infinity Edge, pretty much at the same time there.
Yeah, I mean, you can never really underestimate how strong the slow on the Bilgewater Cutlass is. I mean, you obviously have the jump extra strong, you have the knock away, but you know, if you get 3 or 4 man gank, the slow's going to come in and give you that extra opportunity to escape. Also for chasing. You know, Tristan is a little bit slow. You can jump on top of him slow, but then if you get the Bilgewater Cutlass on top of that, it gives you really good potential to pick up some kills here. And right now, Traco's left alone here, and they don't actually know that Barney has left yet.
No, a ward there, obviously a TCM one, and Copenhagen Wolves are just going to back away from this one. I'm guessing that Reckless actually got decent amounts of cash to spend, and of course, as I say that, they decide, you know what, is he still here? Is he not? We've not actually seen him here for a while, so let's stay around for another couple of ways. 1,400 gold to spend here for Reckless, 1,450 to spend as well for Coutard in the mid lane, who's having a very different game to that than we saw yesterday when he played against the Twisted Fate of ESC.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get focused as much by the enemy jungler by ESC, just like you're saying, and this time he's been forced back quite a bit. He has 3 deaths. Nerdtador's been sitting in that lane a little bit, just making sure that he gets held back, because the damage coming out of him is part of their whole burst combo with the whole Malphite, Evelynn, and Zyra thing that they want to pull off in these fights. So they're keeping him down. But right now, Reckless, he has a lead over his counterpart in the bottom lane with 6,900 gold to 6,400. And we know how strong Reckless is. We know how good he is. And if he gets some sort of lead against you, he can keep it and extend it.
Well, he's just finished off his Infinity Edge, so going down that route first. Got the Berserker Grooves in there, obviously, and that Cutlass to work up towards the Blade of the Ruin King later. And this is Youngbuck. We talked about Youngbuck earlier on, and the fact that Sunfire Cape was now done. The thing that he's got here in his arsenal as well is that teleport. So they know when Dragon's coming up, Youngbuck can teleport down, and they can challenge for this one.
I don't even think they're going to try to challenge it here because they can just let him push that top lane and push. Oh, they steal it!
Stolen away by Counter there from the back. And that Zyra swag walk away, you know, like, yeah, I just stole that. All good. But brilliantly done by Copenhagen Wolves. They said they had the timing down perfectly. And, well, stealing it. Probably the most painful way for it to go there for TCM.
Especially when you don't even use the smite as the jungler. And it's really unfortunate because now the top turn's very low, but they're going for a gank on Youngbuck here, but he doesn't stop with Force Away.
Yeah, but look at that. Naruto actually keeping the tether up there onto him with the flash at the same time. He's going to flash then away from it. Going to get slowed down by JWoww. Here comes Shook from the side. Where's the ultimate? There he goes. Put down from him. Youngbuck is actually walking away. They turn around on towards Shook, but here comes Tautod. There are the grasping roots. Naruto is going to go down. The ulti comes out of Karthus. That's a double kill, as we didn't quite see Youngbuck there at the back. He couldn't recall in time. He falls down, and another double from the Requiem.
And you can never forget about that global presence of that Karthus who could just sit in lane, keep farming, and pop that R and pick up free kills, as Belgian Beast has been able to do quite a few times this game so far. So they're going to get the bottom turret, they're going to get the middle turret as well, so they're going to get quite a bit of gold. Even though they lost that dragon, they're able to come back from that.
Yeah, you're totally right with that one. That's always the Karthus thing where you kind of put it out of your mind until the next time he comes up, as Reckless actually going to get hooked into this one. Flay, but there is a tidal wave, and it looks like they want to try and turn this one around. There's a flash away from the bubble, but Matrocco gets caught up. Exhaust put down. There's the box. Reckless jumps over. Ulti's on. Barney D is dead. Great pick up there for Reckless, who can jump across again. Youngbuck's got no flash, no unstoppable force. He's not going to be able to get in there as he gets slowed, but Copenhagen Wolves with a brilliant turnaround in this bottom lane.
And that's all due to that Infinity Edge they was able to finish up. Look at the difference in items that they currently do have, and with that kill, it's going to get even further. But in the meantime, right now, JWoww's pushing up this turret here. Shook's going to be able to defend it. And that's a good sign for Copenhagen Wolves. If Reckless has a strong early game, has a strong mid game, just think of how powerful he's going to be in that late game.
Counter himself has finished off that Rabadon's death cap, so going straight up to the mega damage that he wants to get in there with Zyra, and certainly working out in terms of damage at least. Obviously not being able to pick up quite as many kills as he may have hoped for right now. On the other side, Karthus, Rod of Ages in there for a while already. Rabadon's for him, and that tier must be pretty close to being filled up there as well. We've also seen JWoww picking up the Last Whisper to add into his Hex Drinker and Brutalizer.
All right, so he's definitely straying away from the tier completely here, just trying to burst someone down and hope he has enough mana to keep jumping and keep getting the kills. Karthus with the death cap, I mean, Reckless is pretty far ahead, but that is a lot of damage coming out of him. The ultimate, which he's now level 16, he's going to have rank 3, is going to just tear through the wolves. And we do see a Runic Bulwark done for Naruto, so the kind of double AP that Evelynn kind of acts as with the Zyra combo is going to be mitigated quite a bit. But you don't see an Aegis coming out of Copenhagen Wolves.
No, not at all. Not even close to that at this point. We'll see if that... so that we actually go on in this one. Blade of the Ruin King, by the way, now added into that Infinity Edge as well for Reckless. So he's getting there, and he's getting there quickly. We saw in that last fight that Twitch just can't really trade with him. The Nami bubbles really causing problems with the tidal wave as well. And right now, Copenhagen Wolves, they've bunched up around this mid lane and wondering what they're trying to go for here. As we see wards going down towards the Baron, blue buff is available. And it looks like it was just a bit of a tour across the map. Obviously, that bottom turrets are both down now, so they were maybe thinking, okay, see if we can get any opportunities in that mid lane. Didn't quite work out for them. The supports here just going to be getting rid of wards. Unlimited does have that Oracle, so he's a bit of a target for TCM.
See, I think the Wolves might want to start going for some 5-on-5 team fights. They have a lot of major items completed. Like
it makes sense now, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have the IE Blade of the Ruin King onto Reckless. They have the Rabadon's Death Cap and the Void Staff done for Coutard. You have a Sunfire Cape done on Youngbuck, which is pretty much the only core item you ever need on a Malphite. And then you have the AoE out of Shook, who doesn't have his Landry's just yet, but he's still going to put out a lot of pain. And with how kind of weak Matrocco is, with how kind of weak JWoww is right now, they can win these fights quite easily.
Well, let's see what TCM plan to do from this one? Barney D just going to be heading himself back home. Wouldn't be surprised to see an Oracle be coming out of him, knowing that Unlimited himself has one, and there is the Oracle pickup from Barney D. So they're going to try and fight for a little bit of ward control. We are 25 minutes into the game, so pretty average time, I'd say, to be picking up Oracles.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, it's going to benefit him even more just for the fact that you're against an Evelyn, and you don't want to let Shug get up behind you. You don't want to allow him to flank you and set up the entire team fight for his team here. But obviously, you do have a Malphite, so he can be the one to set it up as well. So starting to group up middle here, starting to go for a push on this turret. And remember, Youngbuck, he does have teleport, currently not up just yet. And the thing is, JWoww's been having a tough time just 1v1ing him.
Yeah, but the thing is, JWoww has, again, continued to build that lead when it comes to the CS. 50 that he's in the lead right now. And yeah, it's taken him a while, but he's slowly but surely getting to a position where he is going to be a big threat as TCM. They've got a blue buff Karthus. Yeah, they can take this one down quickly. They've got Tristan is in the bottom lane. That's the problem here. Reckless is absolutely nowhere near him. Doesn't matter if he's got 5 Infinity Edges by now. If he's not in the fight, he can't do anything about it. As we see the tidal wave coming across, Barney D taking a lot of damage. As we see Twitch coming from the side, Matroko blasting down Kautar as Naruto has gone very deep in there. He gets rooted in place. Well, here comes the Requiem. Who's he going to take down? He gets him the help onto 1 kill. Belgian Beast actually still alive here as Reckless comes into the fight when he gets absolutely smashed by JWoww. Triple kill coming in, and that will be a 4 for 3 in favor of TCM.
A 4 for 3, but wow. I mean, you saw Reckless, he jumped in, he actually shot Belgian Beast into his own team, and then he got exploded by JWoww. I did not expect him to put that much damage down, but with that evolved Q out of him, with the armor pen that he currently has, it's pretty much like he's hitting him for true damage here. They take them 3 for 4, or 4 for 3, and they get a turret off of that. And all they lost were 3 members, where Belgian Beast still picked up all the assists. So did Naruto.
Yeah, and if you see the player cam down there on the bottom left-hand side, Reckless pretty much just giving out a big sigh and putting his head down after that one. That is not the way they envisaged that going. That's what I said, Tristana was in the bottom lane. They started fighting before Reckless was anywhere near, and by the time he comes there, he's really easy to isolate and pick out in the middle of all that chaos. TCM are going to be picking up a Dragon. That's their first Dragon of the game. Should have probably been their second if Naruto Rodora smited the last one, which was stolen away by Kautard, though.
Look how items have kind of developed, though, over time now for TCM. So they have the Infinity Edge done onto Matraka, so he pretty much matches Reckless in damage here, though Reckless does have that Zeal. And you see Belgian Beast, his tier is done, but he just hasn't really built it into the next item, into the Archangel Staff, into Seraph Embrace. But the Black Cleaver now done for JWoww, so whoever he's hitting, if you do see Matraka pair that in, it's going to hurt, but Reckless, he gets pulled here.
Oh, he's going to get hooked from this one. Barney D not chasing through as Reckless goes in a flay and a flash away from Barney D, but he might not be able to escape this one. In the end, they see that there's man over the side. There's Belgian Beast gets singled out by Kautard over on the right-hand side, and certainly got the damage here as Zyra to be picking off and finishing that Karthus. Will they be able to get a turret for it, though? I'm not sure that they will, especially with JWoww there as well, being a constant threat. Actually, TCM are going to back away.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, okay, so with the new Kha'Zix, you don't evolve your W, so you don't have a great wave clear.
Yeah.
So they're unfortunately not able to really take that wave out. There's no point in getting into a 5-on-4 fight when Youngbuck has that ultimate available to start it off. So they don't want to lose any advantage they've built up from that last Baron fight here. But Copenhagen Wolves, with that pink ward, they've actually taken away the vision onto Baron here, and they're baiting in a fight.
Oh, Barney actually going to get caught. Here comes the jump. They're over the wall. Kautard is on a killing spree, and they're not done. There's an unstoppable 4-6. 3 men from TCM up in the air. Can they finish off? Reckless actually knocks Naruto Rodora away. He's not going to be able to finish off that kill just now. They let him back off, but they may turn and just go beelining for Baron.
And with the items that they have, with that Blade of the Rune King, with how strong Reckless is, they can easily take it. However, we've seen how hard it is for people to smite so far in this game, so we might have Naruto Rodora come in for something, or we might have JWoww come in and just try to just burst it down. But here comes Belgian Beast. He can just sit in the pit.
Kha'Zix on the top side. Indeed, Belgian Beast can just get himself straight into that one. Actually, he's going to get rooted up here. And look at the damage coming in.
Wow.
There's the bubble. Taken down before he gets near the Baron. Here comes that Requiem out, though. The Baron is actually shredding away at the Copenhagen Wolves, and Matroko is right there on top of him as well. He's going to have to flash out from Strangled Thorns. Gets himself one. Taken down by the Zyra passive, and Copenhagen Wolves here picking up a 2-for-1 in the end. Sorry, a 2-for-2 because Kautard had obviously gone down, but his passive not gone. And they stopped the Baron.
And in the meantime, Naruto, he got very low because he got pushed away by Reckless, who was able to stay alive. He just pushed that bottom turret down for free. So in the end, TCM coming out ahead in that, and that's what Baron can kind of do to you. I mean, we saw TCM trying to solo it, then they ended up losing 3 members, and or 4 members, and Copenhagen Wolves lost 3. But the thing is, it's such a new magnet. It's always been called, it always will be here. But both these teams, I mean, they want to win the game out with that Baron buff, and they want to be sneaky, but unfortunately for both of them, it hasn't worked out just yet.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it made sense there. The fact that they got the advantage to go towards Baron, to take it down in time. They got Belgian Beast rooted and killed before he could get anywhere near the Baron pit. So technically they were doing well in that one, but the fact is that they weren't able to mop up those kills. Naruto didn't die when Reckless knocked him away, and with that, he actually got the turret. Yeah, that should not have happened to them.
And it all comes back to what we said earlier in the pregame, the triple threat out of TCM. So yeah, you killed Belgian Beast, but Matraka was hammering away. JY was pushing out Reckless himself. Actually, eventually even did kill him. And the thing is, you can burst one down, but they still got 2 such strong members, and actually Fed members right now, to just tear you down with. So Copenhagen Wolves start to pick their fight a little bit differently next time. And they do have an Oracle Unlimited here, so they might actually try to set up for Baron yet again.
Well, let's see a couple of wards going. Reckless actually just headed back. What's he going to be picking up? Phantom Dancer. Got the money for that one. Obviously had that Zeal and the Crit Cloak a little bit earlier on. So that's going to be coming in there. Obviously, Zhonya's Waltz picked up earlier by Coutard as well. And that could be pretty instrumental in these next fights coming up into that. Carthus still doing a lot of damage, but if you can control him like that, if you can stop him getting into the team, or if Reckless doesn't actually fire him into the middle of the team, that'll be a bonus as well. Barney D just checking there with the hook, actually draws the aggro from Baron on towards Unlimited for a shot or 2. But we move into a somewhat quieter period of the time, at least for now, where neither team want to make any foolish moves.
Yeah, it's that point in the game, 32 minutes in, when you die, you're dead for quite a while, like 40, 50 seconds, and you can lose a lot of objectives in that time. So no one wants to really go in for that major team fight, because if they do, they realize they might lose that game 1, and they might be 1 game away from being knocked out of this and not getting into the summer, or at least get into, guaranteed, the Season 4 promotion tournament. Right now, Wolves still creating a lot of wards here, and TCM, I mean, they're just sticking around. They do get a pull on Unlimited, but I don't think they're going to engage upon that.
Wall of Pain went down. Look at the lay waste there. Absolutely destroying Unlimited. But still, they decide not to follow through. And I think a good decision from Barney D in the end. I think he would have been locked down too quick by that Zyra. He was just off towards the backside. As Naruto here going in on towards Jungkook is going to fear him. Keeps walking away there, but he's kind of like, yeah, what are you trying to do exactly to me? He's not going to be able to kill me. That Runic Bulwark in there for him now as well as a second Giant's Belt plus the Sunfire Cape. There's the bubble. Lands on towards Barney D, grasping roots. Not quite landing. They were off to the side.
Oh, we do see the flash out of Belgian Beast, though.
He's going to go straight into this one as the tidal wave does come down. Can he get on top of him? Naruto has dove straight into the backside. We're going to see Requiem coming out here. Let's see how much damage it can do. Unlimited almost finished off by that one, but TCM, they're a little bit split onto where they're going to be going from this one. Matroko chasing Unlimited now. Can he get the finisher? Barney D comes in, but Matroko does get that kill, and that will be Coutard going down as well. It's JWoww that's causing all kinds of problems on that top side. Reckless had to back away extremely low, and that will be a 2-for-1 for TCM. Now they think they can do Baron.
But there's an Evelyn on the team. Currently we have the teleport coming in at a Youngbuck right now, so they're looking to stop this here. They see the teleport, and TCM, they could lose the game right here if they don't do this very carefully. Barney's trying to zone out Youngbuck, but here they go.
He's got the Unstoppable Force. He's waiting for that box to finish. There's the Unstoppable Force. He goes onto Naruto, and I'm not sure that's the target that he will have wanted to get. He would have wanted more as Reckless comes in from the side. Has he got the damage to finish off more? He's now exhausted, has to jump away, and that will just be more kills for TCM.
Yeah, and in the end, it was a 1 death for TCM, but 4 kills, and now they're pretty much guaranteed to get this Baron here. Because you look at the bottom lane, that wave is completely pushed up, and TCM, they should be taking up to juggle this around without anyone dying, but Reckless, he has something to say about this, but if he can pull this off, this would be huge for the Wolves.
Baron down to 2,600, they turn around, Reckless jumps away, JWoww jumps in. Oh, nicely done, there's a stealth up with the ulti, but Reckless comes in for one final pop, but TCM picking up Baron here, that's the important thing for them.
Yeah, able to lock that one down, and they also stalled long enough for Belgian Beast to pick it up. So he's able to get that buff, he's able to be an extreme threat in these fights, and JWoww, he just picked up a Guardian Angel, so you see him, Naruto, he's been diving into the complete back lines of Copenhagen Wolves all by himself, and with JWoww having that GA available on top of that, he might be able to join him here finally and pick off some of the squishier targets, but unluckily for him, Coutard does have that GA, and Reckless, he's been pretty much keeping his distance away from him quite well. I mean, with his ultimate, with obviously his Blade of the Rune King, with his jump, he's been definitely keeping the ability of JWoww to kill him just nullified.
So, Dragon being done here by the Wolves. Welcome bit of gold for them. So, obviously, Dragon number 4 in this game. Sorry, 3. 3, 4.
No, it's number 4 for Wolves, but TCM got 1.
It's the 5th Dragon of the game, of course, and the 4th for Copenhagen Wolves. Yeah. There we go. It's 35 minutes in. We've seen quite a few Dragons at this point. Well, as I said, welcome bit of gold there. 4,000 behind right now. 17 to 12 behind in kills. Who do you fancy, Jason? I mean, if Copenhagen Wolves can weather the storm of this Baron buff here, have they got the power when it comes to the late game with the likes of that Tristana to win the match?
It's really, I think it comes down to position, how each of these teams play the fight out, because with the way the Wolves have been doing it so far, it obviously hasn't been working in their favor, as TCM does have the lead completely. But TCM, like, they have the damage to burst someone down, and with the GA on JWoww now, like, the person that Copenhagen Wolves are going to burst down, it changes, like, their target. Obviously, they still want to kill Belgian if they have an exhaust, just to prevent the damage earlier on, and then the death of him, obviously, they want to try to cut away from. But if they can land their combo, that's all the Wolves have to do. They're going to kill someone, then they're going to have the advantageous fight in a 5-on-4. But the Baron buff, like you were saying before, it's going to be really tricky. They need to defend an inhibitor. They cannot really afford to lose something like that. And TCM, they don't have an amazing team to dive with, and Wolves have a decent team to defend with that AP Zarya and with that Tristana, so they should be able to hold on to this turret.
Well, let's see. I'm going to push that minion wave in there for this one. Karthus lay waste. We already saw earlier on that the likes of Nami absolutely rips through it. See, Rabadon's Death Cap with the Rod of Aegis and the Saracen Blaze. Already got another blasting wand in there as well. And you already see Grasping Roots coming out. Barney D managing to dodge that one, but the plants giving him a real tough time as he throws the hook out there. Goes straight down the middle of 2. And as you said, they're holding off these waves quickly.
And the thing is, with the Oracle on Unlimited, he's able to clear anything, or the Oracle on Unlimited, without any wards going over the wall for TCM. They can't see where Youngbuck is. They can't necessarily see where Shook is. So they can completely engage upon them and just kill them, even with that Baron buff. So they have to be very careful. They're actually sending JWoww off to split push here. That's a smart move, but TCM still has to be very careful because that unstoppable force can catch a team off guard.
Got the Rando and Zoman in there as well for Nocturne. Dive straight onto Tristana, pop the Randuins and see what you can do with that as the bubble does come around. Belgian Beast has gone right in there, and we are going to see Naruto on the top of them. Here comes Requiem as well as Reckless and JWoww going to be diving in to each other. JWoww's at the backside, and he's doing a lot of damage to Shook right now. Does get Bubble to get away, but that's going to be 2 kills coming out already. They're going to go for Youngbuck now for number 3. He's a tanky man, but he's not lasting long enough. Double kill for JWoww. He jumps now onto the bottom side. TCM looking for the inhib.
Out of that entire fight, I didn't expect Belgian Beast to just flash into the enemy team of Wolves, and I don't think they expected it either, because he just completely caught them off guard. They're able to take Counter Art completely. And the thing is, Reckless, he did a great job. He shot Belgian Beast away with his ultimate, but Belgian obviously can still participate with that Requiem, and getting that first inhibitor down, they should be able to pick up a number 2 here, because they still have 20 seconds left on 3 members of the Wolves.
Yeah, that is the definition of a big engage then. Just flashing us Karthus and say, what up? Let's fight.
Whoever thought that was a hard engage?
Just jumping straight in there with that one. I mean, they've got then Kha'Zix. You saw the problems that JWoww caused when he jumped straight in there on top of him. Reckless trying his best to get out. Didn't quite work for them. He's added now, though, a Last Whisper plus a Giant Spell into the 3 main items that he had before. Twitch also got that Last Whisper in there. We'll see where that's going to leave them in the end. JWoww going to head back. He's now 8-1-4 with that Kha'Zix.
Yeah, so I mean, considering how shut down he got earlier in the game, when he lost his first turret, he had a 3-man gank come up towards the top side. He was able to escape that one, and he was really hindered in CS. He's done a phenomenal job of getting back in the game with farming, because look at the lead he has over Youngbuck right now. That's a hefty lead. And they think about all the kills he's been participating in. He's been in there at the right moments, only 1 death, picking up 8 kills, and him paired up with Belgian Beast, they've done a phenomenal job of just keeping TCM in this game and actually giving them the advantage. And when you think back to what Reckless said in the video right before we start this game, he says JWoww is a person you have to look out for, and he's proved it this game.
I said it earlier on, he is slowly but surely going to get up there and catch up with that. So He's certainly a problem at this stage of the match for the Copenhagen Wolves, who right now are actually pushing, and they can do that here with the likes of that Zyra, but if they get caught by one hook, or if Naruto just decides to engage, they could be in trouble, but he's gone a little bit too deep. Reckless picks up that kill. JWoww going to be focused here. Reckless switches over, knocks the Karthus away from the team. That's a brilliant move from them. We are going to see Requiem coming out. That's going to get a double, and look how low the rest of them have gone. Reckless goes down. JWoww going to try and clean up from this one. Last seconds Zhonya's. JWoww gets another one, and that will be an ace coming out for TCM. A brilliant turnaround again in the fight.
And that should be the game completely, because they have Super Brains in the bottom lane. They're just trying to heal up, and they need to go down and push that bottom wave. But a great job, because that was a fight on the Copenhagen Wolves' terms. You saw in the back line, Naruto just came flying in, trying to pick up the kills, and he ended up dying first. And then you had Youngbuck actually go into the backside of the TCM and actually kept them pretty much preoccupied. But the damage coming out of TCM with that triad of damage was just unstoppable.
30 seconds or 20 seconds, it doesn't matter how many seconds until this spawn. They're not going to be up quick enough here. And TCM on the red side going to pick up game number 1 of the grand final here. The two Spanish players being applauded by the fans, and you can see what it means to them. But it's not over yet, guys. It's a best of 3. You've got 1 game in the lead. They need to keep the composure. They need to keep the focus, because a team like the Copenhagen Wolves will jump on an opportunity like that to come back.
And you have to keep in mind what that game meant to them. I mean, yeah, they're playing for the $30,000 and a spot in the promotion tournament, but they lost just last week to them at the Gfinity in London in 2013. So they wanted that revenge, and they got it, and they are so thrilled about it.
Well, this is a new team, technically, TCM. They've had those changes after the drama that happened over in London, so amazing play coming out from them in that short turnaround time. We're going to head over to the analysis desk where Demon and Freak are going to break down that great performance out of TCM.
Yes, thank you very much, Joe and Jason. What a great performance, as you just said there. Somewhat surprising, maybe surprised themselves. You even saw it in the video, the opening video. You heard TCM say, well, if we don't win here, we can always maybe get through at Gamescom. So they weren't even quite confident in their own usage, but they played brilliantly there, and it worked very well for them. Overall, as a team, the team fights, you said when we were watching, it was like, Copenhagen Wolves have great initiation.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, TCM's is a little bit wonky. They have to make things work, and I guess a flash Karthus is what makes it work.
Exactly. It was interesting because when they clicked the Jarvan in Champs, like I was like, yeah, there's the hard engage. You need to start a fight out and kind of, you can lock them all in an area, so Twitch can spray and pray, and Karthus can use Defile, and it should be wonderful. It should be really, really easy. And they went for Nocturne, and I was like, huh, it's interesting. But it actually worked out, because here's a couple things in the team comp. So one, they want to wreak a lot of havoc. When things aren't dying fast and everything's going crazy, Karthus does well, Twitch does well, and Kha'Zix does well. All 3 of those guys do really well when the fight just is out of control and you can't really focus anyone down, because they all do really good damage output overall and whatnot. And AoE just lets you get more resets on the Kha'Zix. And what ended up happening here in the replay I want to show is actually it's one of the endgame team fights where, as you said, they just kind of force the issue. It's a flash Karthus, it's a Nocturne diving in there, they wreak a bunch of havoc, and they get to assassinate from there by getting rid of the back line.
So let's check that replay out on your screens, of course. As you mentioned, it was just Karthus. He kind of caught Joe and Jason off guard as well. He's just like, well, he's just flashed in.
Yeah, so look at this, right? So Karthus and Naruto go right in, and they both go towards Cowtard and Reckless, who are isolated off on this side. The Stranglethorns keeps the rest of the team from following up. So you can see JWoww, Barney, D, and Matraco, they can't do much here, and they're kind of stuck against the heavy initiation combo. There's the Nami, there's the Malphite, there's the Evelynn. But these guys get into the back line. Let's play it out, watch what happens. We'll go at half speed. They jump in, Cowtard pops Zhonya's, right? They initiate, and look at that. They get rid of the Karthus. He gets knocked back, he gets killed by the Malphite ultimate, they blow him up. But Naruto is here onto Reckless, and Reckless doesn't actually rocket jump away from the Terrify. He actually has it up and never uses it and gets feared up, and he's just outside of Karthus. There's one lay waste. There's the Requiem. There's the flash initiate in from JWoww, actually cues him in midair and explodes the AD carry. Cowtard forced to run, already popped his ultimate, has not much else to say. Shuka's come in, but the reset comes in from JWoww. He can keep pushing down the rest of the team. Matraco, of course, has no one to screw with him, right? All the initiation was spent on killing Karthus, so the Twitch can run into the back lines and kill everyone as well, and everyone from TCM is now here ready to fight and continue on and kill the base. And so really an incredibly well played fight. You dive in, you force the initiation on the Karthus, who can still fight after death, and it leaves everyone else open.
And to pick on the superstar, you know, we sing his praises all the time, but this time I think it's fair that we give him criticism, because there was a number of times in that, around the Baron fights, that he was jumping into the fight. He was separating himself. And for JWoww and Kha'Zix, he's like, this is my birthday.
Exactly. I guess you could say that Reckless was being a little not careful enough in those games because he jumped into a Kha'Zix multiple times, right? Or didn't jump away from the Nocturne. And he normally did a very good job of initiating fights back in the prior semifinal and even some of the fights here in this game. But when you always choose aggression on Tristana, sometimes it doesn't work out.
Doesn't work out. Of course, it is a best of 3 in the finals. We will be back after the break for Game 2.